I built this fully automated source generator app using just Lovable and N8N. All you have to do is give it a link to a video, specify the amount of editing you would want, and select the social media platforms you would want to post it on. Then the app takes care of the rest. It analyzes the video, selects the most engaging parts, and turns them into YouTube Shorts using Submagic, a third-party API that allows you to turn plain videos into engaging shorts with attention-grabbing captions and relevant B-roll clips. After that, it goes and it automatically posts them in all the social media platforms you selected. The best part, you can sell this app to content creators for thousands of dollars each, since it will save them massive amounts of time editing and publishing all of these videos themselves. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you build this app, step by step. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is go over to Lovable, which we're going to use to build the front-end interface of our app. So to do that, I will simply come over here and type, I want to build a source generator app. Build me a front-end interface that receives a link to a video, then create another box where the user can specify how much B-roll he wants his source to have, and then underneath that I need to have the option to post the shorts, and specifically I want to be able to post on Instagram, YouTube and TikTok. Build only the front-end interface of the app. I will build the backend in N8N. So I tell it, just focus on building a nice looking front-end UI. I want it to be modern with nice sharp colors, just like this. And now what I will do, guys, is I will go over to Google and search for nice looking UI. Simply find one that I like. Let's say I like this one, for example. And then what I will do is I will come over here and download it, and simply come back over to Lovable, click on attach, upload it, and then come over here and click on enter. This way, Lovable also has a visual example of exactly how I want the app to look like, making it way more likely to give me a good end result. But now, while Lovable is building the front-end interface of our app, let's go over to N8N and start building the backend. Alright, so I created a brand new workflow, and now the first thing that we need to do is to add in a trigger. To do that, we simply have to come over here and click on Add First Step. We're going to come over here and search for a webhook. And the reason we're choosing a webhook and not any other trigger, guys, is because the webhook is going to allow us to connect the front-end interface that we're building right now in Lovable with the backend automation we're going to build in N8N. And now you see all of these settings over here. But the only thing we actually have to change is to come over here in the HTTP method to change it from get over to post, because that is the request we're going to send over to Lovable in order for us to be able to send and receive data. So now all you have to do is to simply come over here in this URL and simply click on it to copy it in your clipboard. And then if I come back over to Lovable, which as you can see over here, it also finished creating the front-end interface, and I do gotta admit it does look very good. And you can see that it really did take inspiration from the image that I gave it. That's why it's actually very important to give it a visual example. But before we do anything else, what we have to do is to come over here and simply tell Lovable, make sure you send all the data over to this webhook URL. And now what I will do, guys, is I will simply come over here and paste in the webhook URL just copied. And I will also tell it, send it as separate schemas and not all in one. And I will come over here and I will click on enter. And you will see the reason I said that, guys, in a bit. And boom, guys, Lovable just finished making the changes. So now it's time we actually test to see if we're able to send all this data over to N8N. So let's say we have some files in Google Drive, which is actually how most creators work. And specifically, let's say I'm a member of Alex Hormozzi's team and I have this part over here from a podcast. I could sit here and spend like 2 hours trying to edit this and make it engaging. Or I could use the app that we're going to build right now, and all I would have to do is to simply come over here and click on share, change this from restricted to anyone with a link, and also give editor access. And then I will simply need to come over here and click on copy to copy the link in my keyboard and come back over in my Lovable interface, simply pasting the link over here. Then I can also select the B-roll percentage I want my short to have. Let's say, for example, I want it to be 35. You can obviously increase it more, but I want it to be 35%. And then I can select the platforms that I want to post this video to. So for the purpose of this example, let's say I want to post it on all platforms, but you can obviously select the specific platforms that you want. And then before I come over here and click on generate source, is to come back over to N8N and make sure I click on listen for test event in my webhook. This way the webhook actually expects to receive data from Lovable, because if I don't actually come over here and click this is not going to work. And then I can simply come back over in my Lovable interface and click on generate source. And boom, as you can see, the request was sent successfully. And if I come back over to N8N, we can see that we do in fact have an output over here, which means that we have successfully managed to connect the front-end interface we're building right now with Lovable with the backend automation we're building with N8N. So let me actually come over here and pin this data so do not have to rerun this. And if I scroll all the way down here, guys, we can see the exact things that we inputted in our Lovable interface. We can see the videos URL, we can see the b-roll percentage, and we can also see all the different platforms with values next to them that are either true or false. And since we selected all of them, as you can see, all of them are true. Alright, so we're done with the first step, and now what we need to do is to simply take in this video from our Google Drive and actually turn it into an engaging short that we can then go and post over in our social media. So to do that, we simply need to come over here, click on the plus icon and search for an HTTP request. And the reason I'm searching for an HTTP request, guys, is because I'm going to use it to access a third-party API, which is basically going to do all the heavy lifting for us and turn a video into an engaging short. And that third-party API tool is called Submagic, which is an AI tool that, as you can see over here, can turn any simple video and turn it into an engaging short by adding captions and by also adding in relevant b-roll footage. Plus, you can also come over here and try it for free. And the good part about them is that they do offer an API, meaning that we can actually use the service in any automation that we're building in N8N or in any other automation platform. Plus, you can also come over here and try it for free if you want. So I will leave a link for them underneath this video, so definitely make sure you go click the link and create an account, because this is a necessary component in order for us to be able to build our automation. Now, once you created your account, you will be brought over this interface, which is actually super simple to navigate. Over here you have the option to generate captions and b-rolls from any video, to also clip and combine different videos that you might have, and to also get magic clips. This is basically what we're going to use in this video, which allows us to turn any long form video into engaging shorts. And as you can see over here, I have also clipped some other videos when I was trying it out, and I do gotta admit, these clips really turned out very good. But this interface is if you want to manually come over here and click on get magic clips, for example, and then upload your video or give a YouTube URL to the video that you want to clip. But since we're actually going to take this service and integrate it into the app, we're not going to do it from this interface over here. We're going to have to go over to Submagic's docs, which I will also link underneath this video so you can access them immediately. And then all you have to do is to simply come over here and click on docs. Now, do not get intimidated by this, guys. This is actually super simple to navigate. All you have to do is to come over here and click on create project. And this opens up this tab. Now, the first thing we need to do is to come over here to the left, where we have the curl command, which is basically a short snippet of code that we can use in order to populate all the settings for us automatically inside N8N. So all we have to do is simply come over here and copy it, and then come back over to N8N, click on import curl, and simply come over here and paste in the snippet of code we just copied, and click on import. And what this does, guys, is it basically populates almost all of the settings automatically for us, so we don't have to go and manually add them ourselves. Now, we still do need to make some small changes, but we actually have the majority of the settings correctly. Now, the first thing that we have to do is to authenticate ourselves. We can do it with two ways. We can simply come over here in the header parameters and simply input our API key, or we can actually take in our API key and save it inside N8N, so we don't constantly have to go looking up for our API key every time we want to use it. So that is the option that I personally suggest you to do, and how you're able to do that is by coming over here to authentication and changing this from none to generic credential type, then coming over here and selecting header auth, and then in header auth you simply click on it, you click on create new credential, then over here the name you simply need to type x-api-key, exactly as it is typed over here, along with the capitalization of the letters, because if you type this wrong, this is not going to work. And then over here in the value, what we need to do is to basically input our API key. Now you might say, Damian, how am I actually going to be able to find this API key? Well, you simply have to come back over to Submagic's interface, and then come over here and click on your profile, and then click on account settings. And this is going to open up this tab over here. Now the only thing you have to do is simply come over here and navigate to API, and then over here you will see a button to generate your API key. Since I have already generated my API key, I can simply come over here and regenerate it. So I will simply come over here and click on regenerate, and boom, this is my API key. Now all I have to do is to simply come over here and copy it, and then I simply come back over to N8N and paste it in over here. Now you can also come over here and rename this, so do not actually forget what it is. So I will simply name it Submagic, and then I will simply come over here and click on save. And boom, as you can see, credentials were successfully created. So now every time I want to authenticate myself for Submagic, I can simply come over here and select this, and I do not actually need the header parameters, so I can simply come over here and close them off. And now the other thing that we need to configure is over here the body parameters. And as you can see, we do have a small snippet of JSON code. Now I know a lot of you might lose your mind, oh, this is code, I cannot actually do this is super technical. But guys, this is actually super simple to do. All you have to do is to simply come over here, turn this into an expression. Let me actually open it up so you guys can take a better look at it. And as you can see over here, we have this small snippet of code. And if you actually sit there and read it, you will understand a lot of things. Title, and then over here it has a title. So that is the title of our video. Then over here in the language, we have the language of our video. Then over here, we have the video URL. What that is obviously the video URL we want to turn into short clips. So what we have to do is to simply come over here, delete the fake URL that SubMagic has for us, and then simply scroll all the way down here in our webhook to where we have the actual video URL we want to turn into clips, and simply take in that schema and drag and drop it inside the quotes over here. So now SubMagic has access to the video that we want to turn into shorts. Then over here we have the template name, and as you can see it says Hormozy 2. Now you might say, Damian, what is the template name exactly? Well, these are all the available templates which you can find by going over in the interface and simply uploading a video and then navigating over to the caption section. And as you can see, you can select the specific captions that you want. And they basically have all the best captions from all of the biggest creators, which is actually something that's super useful, guys. Because people are way more likely to sit there and watch your video if it reminds them of a video of another bigger creator, simply because they are familiar with the bigger creators' videos. So that familiarity also rubs into you a bit if you're using similar captions and a similar editing style in general. So that's why this is actually a super useful feature that they offer. And I personally really like the Hormozy 2 style, but you can obviously select any style you want over here. So if we actually come back over to N8N, we can see that over here in the template name, it says Hormozy 2 by default. Now, obviously if you want to use a different style, you need to change this. And you might say, how am I actually going to type it so it is correct? Well guys, that's why we have the docs. Because if I actually go over to the docs and actually scroll down a little bit, we can see all of the different parameters that are inside the request body. So basically all the parameters that we have inside N8N. And we can see exactly what each of them are, because underneath each one basically is an explanation. You can come over here, see, oh, this is the language parameter, and oh, the language code, and underneath it there is an explanation of exactly what it is. Plus, they also give you the option to see all the possible things you can input over here. So now if we came over here to the template name, for example, we can read what it is, and we can also come over here and click on templates endpoint, and this is going to bring us over to the templates tab, where we can basically see all the possible values we can input. We can input Sarah, we can input Dan, Hormozy 4, and a bunch of others, as you can see over here, which are the exact same styles that we can see over here. And that's why, guys, going over to the docs and actually reading them is so useful, because the docs are literally made from the people that made the software to tell you exactly how to use it. And most people are actually afraid to go and read them, simply because they think they are for very technical people. But the opposite is true. They are for the people that are not very technical, and they actually explain exactly how you can use the software. So if there is any body parameter inside N8N that you don't understand, you simply come over here to the docs and you read the description, and then you will understand exactly what it is. So now let me come back over to N8N and go over all the other parameters as well. Over here we can see a webhook URL, which we can actually use to receive our video back from SubMagic. And if you actually wanted to do that, all you have to do is to simply close this off and simply come over here and add in another webhook trigger. Then ideally you would come and turn this into production URL, so the webhook constantly is checking without you having to come over here and click on listen for test event. And then you could simply bring that on top, open this up, and simply paste in the webhook URL you just copied, which is one way we can receive the final video from SubMagic. But we're not actually going to use this way, because there is actually a better and easier way. So you can actually leave this on default if you want, or you can also change it. It doesn't really matter, because we're going to use the second and easier way. But I also want to show you both of your options. Then over here we have a bunch of more body parameters that we do not actually need to configure. And over here we have magic zooms, magic beetles, so you can actually turn them off if you do not want them. I will leave them as true because I do want them. And then over here we have the magic beetle percentage, which if you remember we actually specified in a Lovable interface. So I will simply delete it from there, and I will simply scroll all the way down here to where I have my beetle percentage, is simply take it and drag and drop it over here. So now Submagic also has access to that information. And now we are officially done configuring all the body parameters. So all that is left is to simply come over here and close this off, and we can simply come over here and execute the step. And boom, as you can see, it was executed successfully, and we have sent the request over to Submagic so it can start generating our sort. So let me actually come over here and pin this data so I do not have to rerun this. And if I actually come back in my Submagic dashboard, we can actually see the request being generated right now, which means that we actually have to wait for some time, usually 2 to 3 minutes, in order for the video to be generated. So now we have to come back over to N8N and make our automation wait till the video is done generating. So to do that, I will come over here and click on the plus icon, and then I will search for a wait node. What a wait node enables us to do, guys, is exactly what it says. To wait for a specific time frame that we set, and then we can move on with the rest of the automation. So the time we'll actually set over here is going to be 2, and I will come over here and change this from second to minutes. So I will wait 2 minutes over here, and then after I'm done waiting for 2 minutes, I will check to see if the video is done generating. And to do that, I'll simply come over here and search for an HTTP request. And again, guys, you can also do it with a webhook method over here. I'm just doing this with an HTTP request because it is better visually shown in the editor over here. But you can do it with both methods. So let me actually open this up and configure this. Now we will not have to do as many configurations as before. We actually have to do only one. And in order for us to be able to do it, we simply have to come back over to the docs and come over here to the left and click on Get Project. Now this tab opens up. The only thing we have to do, guys, is to come over here in the CURL and simply copy it, then come back over to N8N, click on Import CURL, simply paste it in over here and click on Import. And this populates all the settings for us automatically. The only change we have to do is to come over here and turn off the header parameters, since we have already saved our API key over here in the authentication section. So I will simply come, turn this into generic credential type, then again header auth, and then I will simply come over here and select my Submagic credentials. I also executed the wait node so we have all the data over here, and now simply need to come over here in the URL, turn this into an expression and open this up. And as you can see, inside this URL there is this code at the end of it, which what this code is basically an ID. But if you remember, we actually do have an ID from our HTTP request over here. This ID, which is the specific ID of the video that is being generated. So all we have to do is to simply come, delete the previous fake ID, take in the ID and drag and drop it over here. So now if I actually close this, and I come over here and click on execute step, you can see that it did execute successfully, but over here in the status, it says that it still is processing, which means that our video is not yet done being generated. So now what we need to do is to simply come over here and check if our video is done generating or not. So if it's not, then we can come and recheck again until it is finished. So to do that, I will simply come over here and add in an if node. What an if node does, guys, is basically allows us to look at a bunch of different conditions. Now for this video, we will only look at one. So I will simply come over here, turn this into an expression, and I will come, taking the status over here which says processing. So I will take in the schema and drag and drop it over here. Then I will say, if status, and I will come over here and change this to is not equal to. Now you can still leave it is equal to, it's just gonna be the different branch of the function, but for the purpose of this video I'll just choose is not equal to. And then I will take in the word processing exactly as it is over here and simply paste it in. So I will say if status is not equal to processing, which if I actually come and execute the step, we will see that it is equal to processing, which means that this function is false. Then I will simply take in the false branch and bring it all the way over here back to the wait node, which practically means that if the video is not generated over here, the if node is going to check it, it will see, oh, the video is not done generating, and it will come back all the way over here to the wait node. It will wait for another 2 minutes, and then it will check again, oh, is the video ready? And if it's not, it's going to do the exact same thing, wait for another 2 minutes. And this will keep happening till this function is actually true, from which we will be able to move on with the rest of our automation. So now let me execute this again to see if the video is done generating. And boom, guys, I just rerun it, and as you can see this time, the status over here is completed, which means that the video is done generating, and over here we also have the video URL. And we can actually come, copy this URL and paste it over in our browser if we want to take a look at the video. But before we actually do, let's first finish creating the automation. So I will actually come over here and pin this data, so do not have to rerun this. And if I come over here and I execute the if node as well, you can see that it is successful this time, which means we can move on with the rest of our automation, which is the part where we actually go over and post it in all the social media we selected. So to do that, I will simply come over here, click on the plus icon, and I will search for another if node. And inside this if node over here, I will actually turn this into an expression, and I will open up my webhook to where I have all the platforms that I want to post on. And as you can see, the first one is Instagram. So I will simply take this, drag and drop this over here. And because this is a boolean, guys, if you can see over here, I will actually make sure I turn this into a boolean, and I will say if this is true, then this function is going to be correct. So now if I execute the step, you can see that this is true, and we can move on with posting into Instagram. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same with the other two platforms. So I simply copy the if node, I will simply connect it over here. Now if I actually open this up, all I have to do is to simply delete this and simply open up my webhook, and this time I'm going to select YouTube. So I will say if YouTube is true, and if I execute the step, this is true as well. So now I will simply copy this one more time, paste it in over here, and simply connect it, open this up. I will simply delete this one, come over here again, open up my webhook, scroll all the way down here. This time I will bring TikTok, and I will execute the step, and boom, this one is true as well. And now that I'm actually thinking about it, I could have also added in a switch node to basically do all of these functions in only one node, but both ways are correct. You can add in a switch node if you want, or you can add 3 if nodes. I just happen to do it this way. And now what we're going to do is basically post our video to each one of the specific platforms. And how we're going to do that, guys, is by coming over here, clicking on the plus icon, and searching for upload post. What upload post allows us to do is basically upload any video we might have into all of our social media. But now I do got to preface this is a community node, so make sure you actually go and turn community nodes on if you don't have to, because otherwise you will not be able to see this. And there will be a button where it says install. You simply click on it, and this is going to install this node. So then you will be able to simply come over here and select upload a video. So now that we selected this, the first thing that we need to do is to select our credentials. Now if you do not have credentials, you need to come over here, click on create new credential, and as you can see, you need to input your API key. So in order to find your API key, you need to go over to uploadpost.com. I will leave a link for it in the description below as well, and you can also try it out for free, so definitely make sure you go and check it out. And once you created your account, you will be brought over here in this interface. Now all you have to do is to simply come over here and navigate over to API keys on the top, and then over here you will see your API key. Simply come over here and copy it, and then come back over to N8N, simply paste it in over here and click on save, and boom, as you can see, credentials were successfully created. So now I can simply come over here and select my credentials. Let me also make sure I actually connect this in the if node, because remember, this one is the Instagram one, as you can see over here. So we simply want to upload our video over to Instagram. So let's also execute the previous steps. So we also have the available data, and over here you simply need to fill in your user identifier. Now how you're able to find this is by coming back over to upload post, then navigate over here in the home tab, and the first thing that you will be prompted to do when you create your account is to simply create your user profile, where you're going to give a name, and then you will be able to come over here to manage users. Simply click on it, which is going to bring you over in this tab, where you will basically be able to connect all of your social media accounts. As you can see over here, I have connected my Instagram, I have connected my Facebook, I will also connect my YouTube and my TikTok account. But I do gotta preface this, if you want to use your TikTok account, you do need to upgrade to a paid plan. You can use all the other accounts completely for free. But remember, we came over here for the user profile, which is over here, as you can see, it says profile. So all you have to do is simply copy this name that you have over here exactly as it is, and then come back over here, simply paste it in. Then over here you need to select the platform. Since this is the branch for Instagram, I will simply come over here and select Instagram. Then over here you can also give it a title. Let's say, for example, Alex Hormozy. You can obviously ask for this title in your Lovable interface and simply take in the schema, drag and drop it over here if you actually wanted to do that. Then over here you can also add in a caption if you want. I will add in a fake one for this video. Again, you can also specify this in your Lovable interface if you want. So over here in the video or file URL, what you need to do is give it access to the video you want to upload. But because I have tried it, guys, we cannot actually take in this URL schema and drag and drop it over here, because this is going to give us an error. So how we can circumvent that is by closing this off and then simply coming over here, for example, and adding in another HTTP request. Which, what we are going to do with this HTTP request, we are basically going to take this download URL and simply drag and drop it over here, and we will make sure we leave this on get. and we'll not do anything else. So we'll come over here and click on execute step. What this does is basically download the video into N8N. And as you can see, we also have the option to view it and to also download it in our PC as well, which we can then come over here, if I actually execute all the steps, and open this up and simply take in the name that we have over here in a binary file, copy it, paste it over here, and then I will simply come change this over to video, since this is actually a video. Now there are a bunch of more options over here, but you do not actually need to configure them. You can if you want, but it's not mandatory. And then you can come over here, click on execute step, and as you can see, it is executing right now, which means that it is uploading this video over to Instagram. And boom, as you can see, it just finished executing, which means that we have successfully managed to upload this post over to Instagram. And if I actually come and copy this link and paste it over, you can see that we do have
it made me hate life so much that I would do anything to never return to that, because I honestly thought if this is the next 40 years,
you're like, if this is it,
that you were willing to do something for free, which was assistant to the real estate thing.
Correct. But also during that time they had a sale.
So you can see that it actually does look very good. And now all we have to do is to simply come, take this node, simply copy it, paste it over here. Let's connect it over here in the if node. Let's also execute this so we have the data, and simply open this up, change this from Instagram over to YouTube, since if you remember the middle one was for YouTube. And then over here again you can input the title and caption, and also input a bunch of more information if you actually want. And then you simply come over here, you click on execute step, and this is going to publish it over to YouTube. And you do the exact same thing over here. You simply paste it in, you execute this, so you also have the data, you open this up, and this time you come over here, you change this, and you select TikTok. So now, if I actually come over here and execute both of these, my video is going to be published over to YouTube and on TikTok. So let me actually come over here and execute it for YouTube. So now if I come back over to my YouTube, we can see that we do have the video uploaded over to YouTube as well. And the same exact thing is going to happen if I come over here and execute it for TikTok as well. So I think you guys can understand how powerful an automation like this can be, especially when it is using Submagic, which in my opinion is the best AI source generator in the market, and they did kindly agree to sponsor this video. So I will leave a link for them underneath this video, in the description and in the pinned comment as well, so definitely make sure you go and check them out. It really helps out the channel a lot. And also if you want the blueprint for this full automation, so you can just simply come over here and click on import from file and have it populate for you automatically without you having to do anything, along with a lot more content on how you can create automations and how to actually sell them with a bunch of different methods, plus get access to the series in which I built my own AI SaaS from the ground up and trying to scale it to $1 million. Make sure you click the link in the description and you come and join me and more than 160 members that are interested in AI and most importantly making money with it. But now YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy this video in which I built $1 million app using just Lovable and N8N. So make sure you go and watch that next, and I will see you over there.